A girl rides her tricycle around the neighborhood. As she crosses the lawn of an old house, a wheel gets stuck in the grass. Before she can react, an old man comes out furious and threatens her, warning that if she comes back, she will be devoured. Terrified, the girl flees while he destroys her tricycle. From his window, DJ watches the scene with his telescope, but his parents interrupt him because they are about to go on a trip. He tries to warn them that something strange is happening at Nebuchadnezzar's house, but his mother dismisses him and tells him to stop spying. Once his parents leave, his best friend Chowder shows up and invites him to play basketball. While they play, Chowder asks if DJ will go trick-or-treating on Halloween, but he thinks he's too old for that. Trying to impress him, Chowder makes a spectacular shot, but misses. The ball bounces off his face and lands on Nebuchadnezzar's lawn. Chowder, scared, begs DJ to get the ball. DJ, feeling sorry, decides to do it. As soon as he approaches, the door of the house swings open and Nebuchadnezzar comes out furious and grabs him, but the adrenaline takes its toll. He turns pale, and with a pained expression, he falls. About DJ. At that moment, the fireplace lights up on its own, releasing thick smoke. Shortly after, an ambulance arrives and the paramedics take the old man away. While watching, DJ finds a golden key on the ground and decides to keep it. Chowder says goodbye as Elizabeth, DJ's babysitter, arrives. She reminds him of the rules, but he gets upset and tells her not to speak to him as if he were a child, since he is practically a man. And doesn't even need her there. Elizabeth breaks apart and threatens to tell his parents. Well, yeah, with no other choice, DJ goes to his room. As soon as he lies down, he has a nightmare in which a demonic shadow from the neighboring house grabs him with a giant hand. He wakes up startled by the sound of the phone and discovers that it comes from Nebuchadnezzar's house. He freezes. Suddenly, someone appears behind him wearing a mask, but it's Bones, Elizabeth's boyfriend, who mocks him. DJ tries to warn them about the house, but she and Bones do not believe him. DJ decides to call Chowder and asks him to meet in the danger zone in a few minutes. While he prepares to sneak away without Elizabeth noticing, he hears the couple talking about the old man and stops to listen. Bones says that when he was a child, his kite fell on Nebuchadnezzar's lawn. He also mentions the rumors about the old man, including that he devoured his wife. While Bones argues with Elizabeth, DJ takes the opportunity to sneak out the back door. Shortly after, she kicks Bones out of the house. Upset, Bones throws a bottle onto Nebuchadnezzar's lawn. And then, seeing that the old man doesn't appear, he starts to destroy it. Suddenly, the door opens and inside he sees his old kite. Fascinated, he approaches to take it, but is pulled inside and the doesn't closes from hit. Meanwhile, DJ meets Chowder in a construction area and tells him he believes he killed Nebuchadnezzar and that his spirit is haunting him. Chowder tries to calm him, saying it's all in his head, but DJ insists on investigating. Together, they watch the haunted house, but since they don't see anything strange, Chowder thinks DJ is exaggerating and decides to approach to prove there's no danger. He finds the bottle Bones threw, not noticing that the grass immediately absorbs it. Upon reaching the porch, he rings the bell and the house comes to life. A huge hole opens in the ground. Sharp teeth appear around the door and the carpet turns into a tongue trying to catch him. Desperate, Chowder flees and they both run back to DJ's house. The next morning, the doorbell at DJ's house is DJ's house rings. Elizabeth opens the door and meets Jenny, who is selling candy for Halloween. The babysitter buys some treats for the kids, and when she goes to give them, she finds them investigating the haunted house. Not knowing anything about Bones since the previous night, she asks them about him. The kids realize that the bottle found at the house was his and try to convince her that the house swallowed him, but she doesn't believe them and goes to look for him, leaving them alone. While they investigate, they see Jenny walking and become infatuated with her. However, upon noticing that she is casually approaching Nebuchadnezzar's house, they run to warn her. She doesn't believe them until she sees with her own eyes how the house begins to transform into a monster. Terrified, she tries to escape but trips and falls onto her candy cart. The house takes advantage of the moment and uses the stones from the sidewalk to drag it towards its mouth. DJ and Chowder run to save her and manage to pull her out just before she is devoured. At that moment, Elizabeth appears, making the house return to normal. DJ tries to explain what is happening, but she, tired of the subject, decides to enter the house. To prevent this, DJ lies, telling her he is just going through puberty. Relieved, Elizabeth leaves in her car to continue looking for Bones. From my point of view, the haunted house can represent various things. One layer of meaning we can give it is that it represents DJ's for Chowder and Jenny of growing up. Throughout the film, the theme of leaving childhood behind and entering adolescence has appeared several times. At the beginning, DJ mentioned that he already felt too old to go trick-or-treating on Halloween. Additionally, the house devours, literally, the children's toys as if it were consuming childhood. In this sense, the house can function as a symbol of that childhood home that over time stops feeling safe and cozy and becomes something strange and even threatening. From this perspective, facing the house would also be facing their own growth, which requires courage, bravery, making decisions, difficult ones, and above all, take on responsibilities. Throughout the movie, each character will have to overcome these tests and prove if they are ready to take that step forward. However, the house can be interpreted in many other ways, and later I will examine other possible interpretations. Jenny calls her mother to tell her what they saw, but she doesn't believe her. Suddenly, a dog approaches the lawn to do its business, but the house devours it with its carpet-like tongue. Jenny says it's time to call the police. Shortly after, 2 officers arrive, and the kids explain that the house is dangerous and has already caught a man and a pet. The rookie, Lester, wants to call for backup, but the veteran Landers mocks them and tells them to stop making up stories. To prove his point, DJ jumps on on the grass, but the house does not react. Jenny realizes that the creature is more intelligent than they thought. Frustrated, Chowder throws a rock, but Landers scolds him and warns them that he'll take them to the station if they keep bothering. As the police leave, DJ concludes they won't be of help and they need to find an expert on the matter. The group goes to a video game arcade where they meet Reginald, better known as Skull, a regional video game champion. DJ asks him how to destroy Nevercracker's house, and Skull explains that it might be under the Domus curse, Mactabulus, which causes buildings to be possessed by human souls. The only way to destroy it is by attacking its heart. Back at home, DJ notices that the chimney has been smoking since the old man's death. Jenny deduces that the furnace is the heart of the house. To stop it, they need to go inside, but first they plan to lull it to sleep. DJ suggests using a doll with cough medicine as bait. Once the house swallows it, the medicine will weaken it, giving them time to stop the fire. They prepare the doll with Chowder's Halloween mask and place it on a vacuum cleaner to move it. Using garbage cans as camouflage, they approach unseen. Chowder leaves the doll on the lawn and Jenny touches the doorbell with a slingshot, waking the house. Then, Chowder turns on the vacuum cleaner, making it move forward. Just when the house is about to devour the bait, the policemen appear and unintentionally disconnect the vacuum cleaner while the house returns to its normal state. Annoyed, Officer Landers orders the young people out of the trash cans and arrests them. But as they put them in the patrol car, they hear a strange noise in the house, and they decide to investigate. Lester walks around and is caught by the trees. Then, the house's tongue catches Landers and swallows them in seconds. The teenagers remain in the car when the trees lift them and bring them closer to the house's mouth. Suddenly, a hole opens inside trying to swallow them, but DJ yells at them to jump in time. Thanks to that, they manage to escape before being devoured. After all the chaos, Jenny notices that the house seems to have calmed down, believing that the children were swallowed along with the vehicle. Seizing the opportunity, the group explores the place. Chowder finds boxes of explosives, while Jenny and DJ discover photos of Nevercracker's wife and of the demolition team where the old man worked. Chowder finds a chain with lanterns hanging from the ceiling and thinks it's the heart of the house. They decide to shoot it, but suddenly the demon crater opens again. A jet of water is expelled, and one of the windows emits an intense light to detect intruders. Jenny realizes that it's not the heart, but the uvula of the house, and the group continues with their plan. However, before getting far, they fall into another trap. They appear on top of a mountain of toys stolen by Nevercracker. While looking for a way out, DJ finds a cell and discovers that it's the tomb of Constance. That's the wife of the old man. He uses the golden key to open the lock, and inside is her body covered in cement, turned into a monument. As he tries to examine it, DJ trips and falls onto Constance, breaking the cement and leaving only her skeleton. At that moment, the house awakens furiously and starts to search for them. They run for safety, but Chowder sees his basketball and runs to retrieve it. As soon as he grabs it, several ropes trap him and separate him from the group. At the same time, Jenny is cornered by the pipes and captured. DJ goes up to the main room and sees Chowder about to fall into the monster's throat. He tries to help him, but the creature catches them and they remain hanging, about to be devoured. To save them, Jenny hangs from the uvula of the house, causing the place to fill with water, and then it expels them. Once outside, the three recover, and Chowder, upset, argues with DJ. Accusing him of having endangered the group. But DJ, frustrated, says they were naive to think they had grown up and walks away feeling like a failure. Just at that moment, he's almost run over by an ambulance that suddenly appears. And suddenly, Nevercracker appears, proving that he is still alive, and orders them to stay away from his house. Then he starts talking to the house as if it were his wife, trying to calm it down. DA, surprised, tells him that he knows about Constance. This makes the elderly man decide to tell him his story. Decades ago, he attended a circus where Constance was the main attraction, presented as a woman of 306 kilograms who resembled a house. During the show, the audience would throw food at her and mock her. Seeing the damn suffering, Nevercracker decided to free her using his saw to remove her from that place. Over time, they built their own house. But one Halloween night, some children appeared and threw stones at her, provoking Constance's fury. Nevercracker tried to calm Constance, assuring her that as long as he was there, no one would harm her. But at that moment, the youngsters threw eggs at her, making her even angrier. She grabbed Nevercracker's construction axe to scare them, but he took it away to calm her down. In the struggle, Constance lost her balance, accidentally activated the cement mixer, and fell into the hole, being buried. Nevercracker ended the hunt, but Constance never left. Her spirit continued to attack anyone who got close, so he took precautions to keep the children away, knowing that otherwise she would harm them. Now that we know the story behind the house, more possible meanings arise. First, inside it we saw a monument to Constance. In this sense, the house is a reflection of Nevercracker's unresolved grief, a man trapped in the past, consumed by the guilt of what happened to her. In his memory of the past, we realize that they were both deeply in love. They were a ray of light in each other's lives and were excited to build a future together, symbolized by that house. But before she died, he promised her that he would always protect her, only to lose her the very next instant. The house, the home they were going to share, became literal and metaphorically into Constance. It also became a manifestation of Nevercracker's guilt. He couldn't prevent her fall, and the unresolved guilt keeps him trapped in grief, clinging to the house. In his mind, letting it go would mean abandoning Constance. It would mean letting the love he had for her die. Keeping the house standing is his way of making up for what he considers his greatest mistake, which is not having protected her and not having been able to build the future together that they so longed for. Yeah, and this situation reflects what many people experience in reality when facing a loss that is difficult to process. They cling to objects, places, or routines as if letting go means forgetting or betraying those who are no longer here. It is also a natural response of grieving. They need to find ways to maintain a connection with the loved one they have lost, because this allows them to feel that the relationship in some way remains alive. In psychological literature, these persistent connections are known as Continuous bonds and can manifest in different ways, such as school or such as reflecting on the deceased person, commemorating them through images or rituals, talking about them and sharing memories, visiting their grave, or keeping personal objects that evoke their presence. While continuous bonds are often associated with better adaptation to the loss, not all grieving people need or should develop them. In some cases, these bonds can become maladaptive, preventing the person from rebuilding their life and finding a balance where the absence of their loved one is integrated in a healthy way. And this seems to be the case with Nevercracker, who has given up his own life, opening himself to new relationships and connecting with the world, all to cling to the house, his last connection into Constance. But the house is not only the reflection of Nevercracker's grief and guilt, but also of Constance's anger in life. She was ridiculed and treated like a monster, and upon dying, her spirit fused with the house, turning it into what the people always saw in her. Even the circus posters described her as a house due to her large size, and Constance ended up becoming the mockery and humiliation she suffered, and her anger and thirst for revenge do not let her rest. Her spirit got trapped in a cycle of hatred and resentment and became a threat to everyone, even to the person that loved her the most. Additionally, her story explains her hostile attitude and by extension that of the house. After a lifetime of insults and ridicule, she developed a defensive shell, always on guard, convinced that the world was against her. That's why, when her spirit possesses the house, it attacks anyone who approaches. She assumes everyone comes with bad intentions and feels she must defend herself before being attacked. And in a way, it's hard to blame her for that attitude. In fact, she only became more dangerous after DJ accidentally caused a near-fatal heart attack in Nevercracker. At that moment, her anger overflowed. Another child brought disaster to her home, and in her mind, it is a repetition of what led her to the death. DJ understands that Nevercracker has been protecting them all these years and now wants to help him. He tells him he must let go of the house, but the old man hesitates, fearing being alone. DJ assures him that is not true and takes her hand. Furious, the monster house rises with its three arms, forcing the group to flee into an alley. Nevercracker, still weak, cannot keep up with them, but orders them to go on. The trio reaches the construction site, but before being crushed by the house, Nevercracker intervenes, ordering his wife to leave the children. The monster house approaches him but cannot attack him because it still feels something for him. Nevercracker tells her he always tried to give her a happy life, and taking out the dynamite he had hidden, he asks for forgiveness, assuring her that this time his will rest in peace. However, the house does not allow it and grabs him. At that moment, Chowder appears with a tractor and attacks the creature, forcing it to release the old man. DJ jumps from the vehicle to help Nevercracker, who asks him to take the dynamite and throw it into the chimney to finish off Constance. During the fight, Jenny slips off the tractor and falls off a cliff. At the same time, the monster house attacks DJ, throwing him into the air and making him land right on Jenny. The kids decide to lure the monster toward a crane to be able to throw the dynamite into the chimney. While Chowder tries to distract Constance, the tractor slides and they both fall down the slope, leaving the monster house destroyed. The teenagers celebrate, but their joy lasts a little. The demonic house rises even more furious. Jenny and DJ quickly climb up the crane to throw the dynamite while the house continues destroying the tractor. Constance catches the vehicle with its teeth and Chowder falls, saving himself from being devoured. Undeterred, he runs to lure the house towards the crane, but the creature catches him with its teeth and lifts him up. Chowder manages to break free and escapes just in time. At the top of the crane, DJ doubts he can do it, but Jenny encourages him with a kiss. Then DJ asks him to light the dynamite, but he accidentally activates the hook and starts swinging. Jenny throws the bomb and DJ catches it just in time, dodges an attack, and throws it into the chimney. The house explodes. Sand is finally destroyed. Returning to the interpretation of the transition from childhood to adolescence, the house tested the kids and in doing so helped them realize that they had changed, that they were no longer the same children from the start. For example, Jenny risked her life to save DJ and Chowder when they were hanging from the wooden structure. Chowder, who at first seemed the clumsiest and most fearful, ended up facing the house on his own, luring it towards the crane. Even when the house devoured his tractor, instead of run away, he kept running to distract it. And DJ, at the decisive moment, swung on the cable and threw the explosive into the chimney. They all showed courage and made difficult decisions, risked themselves for others, and above all took on responsibilities. But this theme of growth is not only reflected in their actions, but also in the way that the movie changes the perception of both the protagonists and ours about Nevercracker and the house. At the beginning, for the trio of friends and for us as spectators, the house was a monster that threatened anyone who approached it, and Nevercracker was the scary old man that the children should avoid. But then the story took a turn and showed us something much more complex. While we wanted to know about the house, Constance and Nevercracker turned out to be just a part of the story. The house is not evil in itself, but it is Constance, a woman whose story is marked by rejection and suffering. Nevercracker, far from being the villain of the story, is a man trapped in the past, burdened with the guilt and pain of a loss. And it also turned out that his attitude was to defend and protect the children. And this twist changes our perception of the characters and at the same time reflects a change in the way children view the world. In childhood, we tend to classify everything in terms of polar opposites, good or bad, hero or villain, friend or foe, because it helps us make sense of the unknown or find security in a world we are still learning to understand. But part of growing up involves accepting that reality is not so simple. And as the children advanced in their adventure, both they and we experienced that growth and realized that things are not black or white but full of nuances. Maturing also means learning to see the world in a more complex way, with more empathy and fewer absolute judgments. As they leave the place, they find Nevercracker, who says goodbye to his wife in tears. DJ apologizes, but the old man thanks them emotionally for having freed them after 45 years. When the house was finally destroyed, both were freed. It was the end of a cycle, the liberation of two souls trapped in the past. When Nebuchadnezzar finally let go of the house, it wasn't because he stopped loving his wife, but because he understood that love should not be a chain. To love does not mean to cling to what is no longer there. To love is to find a way to move forward without forgetting. That was the first time he could see beyond his grief and find peace. And in that moment, she was also freed. Her spirit, which for so long was fed by anger and resentment. In both cases, for Nebuchadnezzar and Constance, it was necessary to let go of the painful past. Grief, guilt, and anger cannot define our lives forever. Clinging too much to what we lost can turn us into prisoners of our own sorrow. But when we finally decide to let go, we are not forgetting or betraying. We are allowing ourselves to live again. The kids help return all the toys that Nebuchadnezzar had taken. Jenny says goodbye and DJ tells Choro that he's worried about the old man, but he responds that we'll be fine, that he will go on vacation and perhaps meet someone. This time, a nice beach house. In the end, although they agree that they are too old to go trick-or-treating, DJ says that after everything they've been through and how hard they've worked, they deserve it. So, excited, they run through the neighborhood to enjoy Halloween. At the end of their growth process, the kids didn't completely leave their childhood behind. Despite having had an experience that made them mature, they still found value in what means being kids, and they decided to take advantage of Halloween night to have fun. And I like this ending because it seems to be telling us that growing up doesn't mean let's forget our youth. Also, many times when we grew up, we set aside what made us happy as children, as if being adults required erasing everything we once were. But I think that when we forget our youth, maturity loses its meaning. Age ends up becoming an empty routine that stifles imagination and robs us of the joy of living. In the end, I believe that true maturity is not about leaving childhood completely behind, but about finding a balance between growing up and continuing to enjoy life.